Well, the new year has meant a new version of the Oklahoma City Thunder, at least since January 4th. Their middling offense has improved to 9th in the league. That's a good thing, right? Unfortunately, the best D in the league up to that point has regressed to 28th out of 30 teams since. The transformation has taken its toll, with the Thunder losing 5 of 7 before their afternoon in Philadelphia with that guy and the 76ers.
Spoiler alert, this was also not a defensive struggle.
No, it was not. Russell Westbrook all by his lonesome coast to coast. He had 21, 10, 6 assists. Here's Embiid to the rim and 31 on the afternoon. This was an early game.
Loved the aggression from Embiid. Loved how much he was trying to get the ball at the rim.
A lot of folks won't love that shot selection, even wide open, because he's huge and taking threes. But Ben Simmons has got his back. 20 points, 15 boards, and 9 assists for Simmons. OKC up 3 at the half. Simmons, another layup. Philly up 2. Paul George. Ooh, good move to free himself up and knock down the 3. And then after the missed 3, Russ to PG on the lob. 31, 6, and 5 for PG. More from him later in the highlight. Sixers turn it over. Russ kind of lost the ball and was in an awkward position. He's basically dump trucked by Joel Embiid. More on this coming up as well, because Russ wasn't all that happy about it, as it turned out.
But I'm not sure what Embiid could have possibly done. I mean, Russ fell in front of him. Here's a big man running, and he just kind of landed
I think
on top.
if Joel doesn't put his arm down, it's actually significantly worse because he falls on him with all his body.
Well, those two had a history. Jimmy Butler has a recent history of making big shots late, including those two. And OKC's lead is down to 1. Embiid with a pump fake and gets fouled by Westbrook on a three-pointer. Westbrook fouls out on the play significantly, and Embiid hits his free throws. We're tied up at 113. Uh-oh. OKC turnover. Remember, no Russ in the game here. Philadelphia with the easy bucket from Butler, and they're up 2. Last chance for the Thunder. Under 7 seconds to go. Paul George and 1.
Just like you thought, a 4-point play from PG-13.
Unbelievable. Still time left on the clock. Simmons, handoff to Butler. He's already won a game or 2 this season on a shot like that, but the defense collapses on him. Difficult look. It won't go.
That was exceptional defense from Oklahoma City, and you can tell in the timeout they talked about the fact that very likely Ben and Jimmy are going to come together. Both defenders jump Jimmy, knowing that Ben will not shoot a 3.
Well, and that's how OKC maintained its win streak over Philly, now at 19 games. That's the longest active win streak by one team over another league-wide. Paul George hit the big one, part of his 31-point afternoon.
Take me through.
Oh, so often the difference between good teams and bad teams, and in this case between two good teams, is just simple execution late in games. Paul George knocks down that shot. They were able to do enough defensively to keep Butler from knocking down his. What was the difference for OKC?
Well, let's look at this play that took place where Billy Donovan drew up.
Pass that OKC wants them to make if they can, because Ben Simmons is reluctant to take that shot and not likely to hit that shot given his history as a jump shooter. Meanwhile, I maintained throughout the season that the biggest surprise from last summer of all the stuff that happened wasn't LeBron going to L.A. It was Paul George staying in Oklahoma City, and they continue to get the benefits from that.
Well, and I think what you've seen when they have played very well of late, when they play very well, lately it's Paul George's team. And in the fourth quarter, he's their leading scorer on the season. He's also shooting 42% from 3 in the fourth quarter. Today he had 14 points in the fourth quarter, 3 of 4 from 3. He's carrying the mail for them late in game situations. And today I would tell you that he actually got them past some really egregiously poor decision making on the part of Russell Westbrook. About a minute 46 left. They're up 4 points. Russell attempts a dagger 3 from the top of the key. Not a good shot at all with as much time as they had on the shot clock. I want to say there were 16 seconds left on the shot clock. Then that last foul he picks up, we showed the highlight. He picks up the foul from behind on the three-point shooter. That's a 6th foul. He can't reach in there. He's already blown by. He's got to just let that go. Paul's been so good, he's carrying them despite that.
Well, Russ was a little frustrated after the game, in part because of that foul. That collision, rather, with Joel Embiid. The two of them have some history. Remember when OKC beat Philly In Oklahoma City, it was Westbrook waving bye-bye to Embiid and the Sixers on their way out. Here was his reaction to that collision after the game.
I don't think he just landed me. He had a little extra to it. You know what I'm saying? But it's okay. You guys are cool? No.
Alrighty then. On to the Mavericks and the Pacers. Luka Doncic and the Mavs. Not really Luka's night. Put it that way. Victor Oladipo, step back. Going with the old hickory uniforms in this one. Oladipo. It's from Hoosiers, you know, Czar.
I remember that.
Okay, make it sure. Thought I lost you there.
Look at Sabonis doing work.
Sabonis. 16 and 11 for him. 58-42 already at halftime. Hickory on top. That's Miles Turner. Jimmy Chitwood could never do that. Blocks Luka Doncic for the block, and then Oladipo to Miles Turner in the paint to get the dunk there. Doncic just 3 of 14 on the night. And then after the tip, he kicks the ball and picks up his second technical.
Invited to leave the game.
Yes. Commanded even. Tyreek for 3. Evans was 7 of 11. He had 19 points and an easy win for the Indiana Pacers, 111-99. Sixth team in the NBA to reach 30 wins now. Here's Doncic on his first career ejection.
I was just trying to play soccer. I didn't try to kick the ball out of stands. And for sure, you know the rule. If it goes to stands, you got ejected. So I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know that? That was
The different rules in Europe. So I didn't know that was a rule. So yeah.
Oh, so in Europe, you were still there in the game?
Nah, I think so. Yeah. I wouldn't have been ejected for that for sure in here.
So you weren't frustrated when you kicked it? You were just trying to kind of do a trick?
I was trying to, juggle the ball. For sure. It went into the ball, so I got to work on my soccer skills.
Yeah, kicking the ball also acceptable in soccer. Just a note.
Might want to see somebody for that sore on the bottom of the lip, too. I'm just throwing that out there. It looks like he might have gotten scratched.
More coming up here. Kyrie continues to walk the walk after talking the talk. Danny Green and the Raptors running roughshod over the league. And the Bucks making their own magic in Orlando. It's all ahead.
5 of their last 6. So it's good for them to get the win. And for Philadelphia, they had won 5 of their last 6 at home. They're 19-4 at home this season. So a tough loss for them as they've been holding fort at home. Here's Paul George after the victory. So it is a long season, and you hear Paul George say it because OKC, they were riding the wave, playing well, climbing in the Western Conference, and then they hit this tough stretch. So to go on the road and get a victory like this and to hit a game winner, Westbrook fouls out, has another night struggling shooting from the field. What does that do for the team as far as morale is concerned to be able to get a victory when you've been struggling?
Well, it lets me know that Paul George is kind of that silent. We know it's, Russell's team, so to speak, as we say, but now that Paul George has been there for his second year, people understand what good of a leader he is and how he's trying to lead by example. And to your point, Chris, when they were 0-4, we thought something was wrong with him. Remember that when they started out 0-4 and Russell was hurt? We thought something was wrong with the team. They get healthy. Paul George reminds us on how good he really is. Russell starts to share a little bit more. Wait a minute, they're in the third? We didn't see them being in the third at the beginning of the season. So long season, you understand that your leaders have to lead and you have to try to play consistent basketball, and they're starting to do it.
Yeah, to 3D's point, I think it's Russell Westbrook's team, and he has dictated that Paul George is going to be our leading scorer. And once he made that decision, Paul George can be himself, and he's flourishing right in front of our eyes.
Talk about shot selection with Russell Westbrook. 8 for 21 from the field today on the season, shooting 41%, the lowest since his rookie season. Is that a matter of, okay, he's getting open looks and just missing them, or do you think that's poor shot selection as the major key there?
I think each night is a little different, but the nights he takes good shots, it seems like the offense flows better and he takes good decisions. And when things are bad, you're looking at it like, wait a minute, Paul George hadn't touched the basketball. The ball's not going from one side of the floor to the other. So when you watch some of these plays develop, you say, all right, this is going Russ being Russ. You get to your sweet spot. I'm not totally mad at that shot, Booth, because he normally can make that. The question is It's how many times you come down in a row and just go to that same spot and shoot it. Now nobody's touching the basketball. There's no continuity, and that's when you get frustrated. And then he said, okay, let me calm down a little bit. I love the glass. I'm missing that too. So, Boo, when you think big picture with this team, when he takes better shot selection to make better decisions, everything flows better.
Yeah, they're a better team when he makes good decisions. And for him, I think it's all, like you said, it's different every night. Some days he's got it going, some days he doesn't have it going. One thing that he always does, though, is get his teammates involved. And that's something I can appreciate as a big man who needs the point guard to get the ball to you. But for them moving forward, especially when the postseason gets here come April and May, you got to always make the right decision, because if you don't, it can really bite you in the butt.
And you say a big that needs a point guard to get you involved. Nowadays, we got a guy like Ben Simmons, who is getting people involved on the perimeter, but also playing as a big. That's really been working out well for Philadelphia. We know they lost this game, but they still had 28 assists coming into this one. They had 78 assists in their previous 2 games.
Wow.
That's the best 2-game stretch for the 76ers since 1982. How is that working so well with Ben Simmons working from the post and getting guys involved?
Well, I think Brett Brown has done an excellent job, in my opinion, to cancel out the naysayers and keeping him away from the three-point line. At 6'10", whoever guards you, you should dominate your matchup by going to the post and the mid-post. And then when they start double-teaming, now you can be Brian or Magic or be whatever, because you're so tall you can see over the double-team and pick people apart. The only thing I will challenge him with, when I saw him the other night, Boos, is get your free throws together.
Yeah.
Because as you get into the playoffs and people start fouling you and you're a liability, we saw, I think it was one game last year in the playoffs, he was like 2 of 12 or something crazy. That's where you hurt your team the most. The three-point shooting, I think we over-talk. But when you're a late-game situation, you got the ball, now it's hack or bend, because they're going to send you to the free throw line, and that means Joel Embiid, less touches for J.J. Redick on down, less touches for Jimmy Butler. That's where I think Ben Simmons needs to continue to work on his game.
When trying to defend a player like that, as far as a guy that's going to have the height advantage over you, but still going to be looking to pass and can finish around the rim, how difficult is that to defend?
No, it's tough. I remember being in Utah and going against the Lakers when they had Lamar Odom, who was 6'10", can handle the ball very well, get the rebound and bring it up himself. He was very similar, could score, can make plays for his teammates. And that's what Ben Simmons does. He gets the rebound, he takes off. He's like a one-man fast break, but he's a phenomenal playmaker with great vision and with that height. So it's very tough for opposing power forwards. Do you put the power forward on him? Do you put the point guard on him where he takes advantage of you in the post? So he's a matchup nightmare. The one thing, like 3D said, is if he can get his free throws down and if he can get a consistent, like 16, 17-foot jumper, it don't have to be a 3, but if you could take a step in, knock that down consistently, it takes him even higher.
All right, here's Brett Brown following that Philadelphia tough loss against the Oklahoma City Thunder.
What do you think of the last look there in the game?
The one where Ben dribble handoff to Jimmy. You know, I thought we were trying to create an environment where Ben could attack as best he could, keep the court spread. He cut the driving line off and, you know, ran a dribble handoff to Jimmy. We were out of timeouts at that stage. Really, at that point, you're begging, like, you know, 5 seconds left, no timeouts. You're trying to get whatever you can. And I'm backing Ben Simmons on the fly. I wish we got it out of bounds quicker to create more of an environment that was moving and a little bit more disorganized. But there's a lot of stuff that went on before that.
What went into the decision to trap out of that after dribbling the free throw?
Yeah, just we were out of timeouts. You know, you never feel comfortable, I don't, letting somebody just dribble down a clock and them getting the last shot. I don't like doing that. And so you got choices. You can either hit it while it's static and they can see you coming, or you can do it sooner and try to take advantage of doing stuff early so you have more clock to use from our end. And we just decided to do it sooner. The concept I would keep, you know, then you have decisions on what level do you do it. We decided to do it in full court, and it's a little bit easier after a free throw.
Do you expect him to go to Paul George there, I would assume, with Russell out of the game?
Yeah. You know, and we talked about it. There's 2 looks that they are good at. That's one of them. And they did a good job of getting him the ball, and he made a tough shot. Jimmy was all over him. You know, it's a tough shot. We give Paul credit. And there was a lot of good stuff Jimmy did going down. You know, we had the you know, sort of a 2-for-1 in our world where he just caught it and pulled it baseline. You know, scored out of that. Had the dribble up 3, had the steal. You know, with the trap that we're talking about. I thought Jimmy was huge, you know, when it mattered most. And Paul George made some tough shots. I thought the call with Paul that, you know, maybe travel, maybe didn't, but the defense was still, in this environment, pretty solid. That's a tough call.
Like you said, Brett, just a lot of positive things that were happening down the stretch with your guys, too. And you coming out of this at the end with a loss, how do you categorize? Like, are you happy with just what you saw, you guys, the fight tonight?
I thought physicality, they got the better of us in the first half. Their physical team, you know, they really are long, athletic. Steven Adams is just so, you know, much strength, brute force strength. The offensive rebounding hurt us. His offensive rebounding that they kicked out to Ferguson for the 3 maybe was as painful as all of them. You know, I'm sure when we go back and look at things with less emotion than we all have now, you're going to find a lot of good things. At the moment, it's a tough loss.
For Joel to step up and hit those free throws at the end of the game, I don't think he had shot very well from the line up until that.
That's right.
So what does that say about him? To just
I mean, I think that he just is looking forward to beating them. You know, we've had tough games with them here in Philadelphia, and I feel like he was probably, you know, anxious to get that first half. There were things that, you know, he could have done, you know, probably differently, and I thought that the way he responded, especially in the fourth period and in that environment, I thought it showed a lot of character stepping up to the line and making those shots.
What was just the range of emotions for you there in the final 25 seconds as the game kind of swung back and forth 4 or 5 times?
Yeah, I mean, you learn to sort of just stay pretty steady. You know, for me, my pain is always at 3 in the morning. You know, when you sort of wake up and you realize that's when it hurts the most. And you move on. You know, I'm proud of the way that we're playing. I'm really proud of our cohesion. I think that there is a spirit amongst our group that at times previously we didn't have. And, you know, as long as we hold on to that, then we can do wonderful things. We can do wonderful things. And tonight, you know, we came so close to stealing a game in pretty dramatic fashion, in a very aggressive way, in a team way, with players making big plays. But it just didn't go our way. And we'll continue to try to just grow the fabric of the team is what you hear me say the most loudest.
2 more guys. What's the thing?
So let's take a look at that final play one more time. Philadelphia did not have a timeout. Jimmy Butler, we've seen him hit a shot from that spot for game winners twice in Philadelphia already, against Charlotte and against Brooklyn.
Can we show it again? Can we re-rack it upstairs and show it again, and then we can make the point to what Boozer was talking about earlier. You're only down 2. So we re-rack the play, do the dribble handoff with Ben. Watch how the 2 players come to Jimmy. Why can't Ben slip real quick, a little drop pass, now he knocks down a little elbow jump shot to go overtime, we're playing more basketball. That's the confidence that Boozer was talking about earlier. If you can just make a 14-foot jump shot, now you just destroyed the defense, because the defense just said, Ben gave the ball up, we're both going over here to Jimmy, and we know Ben's not going to shoot it. Only thing he had to do was slip. We thought it was only 2 seconds, 5.1.
That's a lot of time.
5.1 is a lot of activity could have happened there. So that's what we're trying to help Ben for the next evolution of him being a great player, is that forget about the 3. Just get a 15, 14-footer, little floater from there. Now you extend the game more basketball.
On the flip side of that, to your point we just talked about off camera, teams are starting to scout Jimmy Butler and the Sixers. They know he hit 2 big game-winning shots from that spot. You saw OKC trapped him right there, made it tough for him to make a play. And with Ben just standing there, if he slips to the hoop, like 3D said, he has a wide-open jumper.
And look, we all understand that Ben Simmons is a really good, if not great player in the NBA already. But as you're saying, for him to become a threat to just hit a 15-foot jump shot in clutch situations, that just makes him that much more dangerous.
That much more dangerous, that much more better, and then we will stop saying he's a liability in the last 3 minutes of the game because now teams are going to foul him or teams are going to leave him wide open, or they're going to say, oh, we know JJ can shoot.
Right.
We're going to stay with JJ until you make a shot. We're not rotating. We can stay with, with Joel Embiid, and they're rotating and double teaming off of his man.
It's a tough road ahead for the Philadelphia 76ers. Let's look at their upcoming schedule. Look at the records, the teams they're facing. All above 500.
All above 500, yeah.
And even
above 500.
Even the Sacramento Kings is a tough game nowadays. Maybe 3 or 4 years ago, you say, oh, that's chicken noodle soup. No, that's beef and potato now. You better bring a spoon.
Yeah.
The Rockets with James Harden, the Spurs, one of the hottest teams in the league. The Nuggets, top team out west. The Lakers, LeBron James should be back for that. The Warriors, we know who they are. Like you said, the Kings, Raptors, most wins in the NBA. Nuggets again. Lakers with LeBron. And then the Celtics, who are also headed in the right direction. Philadelphia basically playing a playoff schedule, moving ahead. And the Warriors just got this guy, Boogie. We look back on his big night next. You're watching